All right, folks, welcome to the next episode of Every Citizen Armed. Today we're going to have on Patrick Hopkins. He's with Five Dogs Gun Range out in Kern County. They have some of the top instructors in the nation, like Sheepdog Response, come out there and do some classes in the past. But they also have a lot of our local folks out here who are really good, like Powers Firearms, who does a lot of training out there. I think you're really going to enjoy that part of it. But also, he's going to get into the history of how they got this gun range started about 40 years ago. And then we're going to talk a little bit how they got the name. I thought that was kind of a fun part of the story when you break that down. So let's get started with this. And hopefully you can learn a lot about the classes that they do have out there. And you could really get comfortable. So here we go.
Every Citizen Armed ensures that every American patriot is prepped with knowledge, perspective, and firepower.
He counted on America to be passive. He counted wrong.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
All right, good morning. Welcome to episode 6 of Every Citizen Armed. This is Chuck Sears, and I'm sitting here today with Patrick Hopkins.
Hi.
And he is with Five Dogs Gun Range. And I'm probably saying that wrong, but you could correct me as we go on there.
As long as you remember us, Five Dogs Range, Five Dogs Gun Range, Shooting Range.
Yeah, you're the top, really the main gun range here outdoor gun range in Kern County.
We try to be.
Yeah, I've heard about you for years. And when it comes down to it, you're a family business. Mm-hmm. Kind of tell us a little bit about that and how it got started, if you can.
Right on. Well, there's 3 different stories to tell about that, like where Five Dogs got its name, the land that it's on, and David Olds.
Yes.
So, starting with the land that it's on, that goes back generations. The land is actually Frankie Olds, David Olds' wife.
Okay.
That goes way, way back from when she was a Stockton, then towards the Angles part of the family. The land has been in the family for generations and generations, back when a creek ran through it. Yeah. And then, in fact, the first tour I got of the place, I got to go down to the family graveyard and get introduced to that. So when I first visited her father, my wife's father, and he took me to the graveyard to sweep up the graves. Yes. That was the first time I met my father-in-law. So I drove past a gun range that I didn't know about when I was on my way out. Then we got to go clean the family grave. So, just as a how do you do, welcome to the family kind of thing, he just let me know where I'd end up.
Yeah, see, that's a pretty nice introduction in a way there. That's just behave correctly.
Right.
Because we've got a place.
He remembers it differently. He wasn't even trying to do that, but maybe it just comes naturally to some dads.
Well, absolutely. As a father of 2 daughters, I totally understand. I totally understand now. So, yeah, so it's been there for generations. You mentioned David Olds. Now, was he the one that started the actual gun range side of it?
Yes. And the idea for a gun range was actually Frankie Olds' dad.
Okay.
He was the original person who said, hey, this place would make a good gun range. And David finally followed up on it. This is around 1980s.
Okay.
But yeah, David Olds was the original person who started the work. At the time, Frankie Olds was working for Calico Gun Company, putting together 22s, and David Olds was working for a cattle feed company, doing sales across the West Coast, and also doing carpentry work here and there, mainly remodeling and all that. So right off the bat, David Olds is the guy who'll do any job it takes to, keep the family afloat. And
so now the family is a cattle business, in the cattle business also, right?
Yes, it is a cattle range right now.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, because David actually went to school with my father-in-law, so he's known him for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. Just like a lot of those folks out there. And then you opened the gun range in 1986, if I remember
1986,
right.
yes, sir.
So really been a long time, almost 40 years, I think, when you look at that. And you do a little bit of everything out there.
Yeah.
Because when I look at it, you could shoot anything. So what are your specialties? What do you recommend out there? You allow folks to do pretty much anything.
Rifles, pistols, shotguns, we can pretty much accommodate anything that's not, explosive. And even then, I don't know. We'll have to talk to somebody about it, maybe. If the money's right, We try to cater to as many people as possible. And going into it, the philosophy from the start has always been mom and pop and the kids pay the bills. So we try to please them.
Right.
We always try to treat everyone the same, and everyone's $15 a day fee counts for the same. So,
yeah, that's very impressive when I walk out there, and we've done a lot of shooting out there over the years, and I was out there just the other day with one of your instructors, spending some time with her, Naomi, and she was correcting me pretty well. Really, she's pretty good about that. I mean, and I needed the correction, so it was very good. But I did notice you do work with a lot of different instructors out there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, how many different instructors and what type of programs do you see that they're offering out there, roughly?
Well, hard to say off the top of my head. I want to say at one point I did a count of how many active instructors we had. We had 17 different instructors at once. That was when Camp Hamilton closed, and we had quite a bit of them transfer over to Five Dogs. But that was including some that were out-of-towners who just wanted to use Five Dogs for a one-time off. So probably around 1.15 different instructors who are very active.
Okay.
Doing CCW training, doing, basic handgun, hunter safety, that kind of thing.
And you have a lot of different events. I know you have a big event coming up this weekend. I know
Yes, sir.
It will have already happened by the time this episode airs, but you have this big event coming up this weekend. Tell me about some of the events that go on out there.
Yeah, so the Sporting Clay fundraisers, those are the ones that we actually put on. A lot of the other events like IDPA and USPSA and the SAS stuff, that's run by other clubs who operate on our range. But the Sporting Clay Trail, that's stuff that we do here at Five Dogs.
And you said it's a fundraiser. What's it for?
This one in particular is for the Kern County Cattlewomen's Association. They are sister branch to the Kern County Cattlemen Association. So, they get the young women in Kern County educated on cattle raising and stuff like that, and they do a lot of good work for the community.
Yeah, I've seen them around town. I've attended a few of their dinners here and there up and down the state. Always impressed with what they're doing.
Yeah, they're very active.
Yeah, that's exactly what it seems like. Paula Francis has worked with us a lot over at North High School, and I was real impressed with her, and I think she's a big part. Has been a big part of that in the past. So now, being a family business, are there a lot of your family members that work out there with you, or is it going to be mainly you? And
Not really. It's mostly just me and David.
Okay.
Part of the family. My wife, Kate, was also working there at one point until she had kids, and she prioritized the kids, so
Yeah,
can't
you have
blame
to
her.
do that sometimes, I guess.
She can. I mean, it's hard to, get babysitting services out there at Five Dogs, but...
So obviously you say you're married to Kate, so you have a couple kids. Are you bringing them up into this then too also? So they're probably very familiar with firearms.
Well, one of them's 3 now, so...
Not quite there yet, I guess.
He knows the concept. He shoots me all the time with his fingers.
Does he?
So, yeah. It's a good shot.
Probably hits every time, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Somehow.
Yeah. But you do see a lot of kids out there, I would imagine.
Yeah, we do. We don't really have an age restriction out there at Five Dogs, except for who can buy a membership. But
Sure.
we have a lot of, mom and pops and kids, and they're people just bringing them out, shooting 22s. That seems to be the ideal, that dads want to get their kids trained up with 22s and just plank in, get them used to the guns, and we get a lot of that, yeah.
And that's been one of our pushes, is that we need to have more youth actually comfortable around firearms.
Oh, yeah. We need new blood.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking on your site, and I noticed there was something about, there was a homeschooling event out there. I don't know if it was a fundraiser. Seems like it's in a few weeks.
The Heritage Christian?
Maybe that's what it's Heritage Christian.
Yeah, that's another fundraiser coming up on the 28th, I think. Yes, sir.
What does that do?
It's another fundraiser for the Heritage Christian Schools. Yeah, it's another Sporting Clay event.
Okay.
So, yeah, obviously it goes to benefit that particular school. And I know the Sierra Mountaineers, the 4-H Club, is going to be helping out with them, with the raffle and all that. Dirty Bird is going to be donating a gun to that one. So.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
He was in here a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Dustin was, and said he's really involved in trying to get as many kids comfortable around firearms also.
Right. Yeah, Dustin's great. He's been out to all of our shoots. He's pretty involved in pretty much everything we got going on. So, yeah, we like Dirty Bird.
Yeah, I went and saw him just the other day, as a matter of fact. When I was at your place with Naomi, she recommended I buy a different handgun and another handgun. And luckily, she said that right in front of my wife, so it worked out very well. So I immediately drove down and saw Dustin.
If your wife is listening, I suggest you buy a whole lot more guns.
Yeah. Always.
Nothing in particular, just he needs to buy more guns.
Yeah, right now you could buy them. That law has been lifted about one for every 30 days.
Right.
So now you could go out and get 5 or 6 if you want. So, and then come out and do some shooting.
And I will.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and you mentioned the different groups that are other competitions out there. Was it IDPA? What was the name of the group?
Yeah, IDPA, USPSA, those are the rule sets they use. The group is called Five Dogs Action Shooters. That's the club that operates those matches. IDPA is International Defensive Pistol Association. USPSA is something.
Yeah, there's a lot of acronyms here and there.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. It'll probably be in the show notes as well. Or in the listing below when you see this aired. With that, you also do a lot of work with law enforcement.
Right.
You see them out there. What are they doing out there? How are you helping those folks?
BPD and Kern County Sheriff's Department do a lot of training out here. For the most part, we're pretty hands-off with them. We set them up with a bay, and we give them a day, and they kind of just do what they need.
Nothing wrong with that.
We charge them a fair price, and then they just do whatever they want, really.
They're probably going to
They're local boys, we got to help them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we want to make those folks as comfortable. They're the ones showing up when we need them.
Right.
So
we usually just help with setup, You need target boards, you need whatever, and for the most part, they have it, so.
Yeah, and that's what I was really impressed. You could shoot anything out there.
Yeah.
We saw the shotgun, the clay area over there, but handguns, rifles. It's when you're looking at ranges. What's your range on, say, rifle shooting? The distance,
Like our max range?
Yeah,
It's 550 yards.
yeah. So you're shooting out there ways.
Yeah.
That's going to be very, really teach some folks.
Mm-hmm.
Your staff was very helpful when I was there, and I've watched them when I was out there, and I tend to do that. See how they interact with all the other folks. They were really involved, really paid attention, and safety is such a big issue. Anytime you deal with firearms, of course it is. But how do you lead into that? How are you training them? How does that go?
Well, yeah, Tim, the other manager who couldn't make it today, but him and I are primarily in charge of teaching new employees, and we don't generally hire a lot of new employees. The ones we have right now are the ones we've had for a couple of years now, and they've been really working out well. And David wanted me specifically to mention that this is the best crew that he's ever had out here at Five. And I have to agree since I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, evidently you paid attention when you hired.
Right. But for the most part, it's fairly simple to learn the rules and communicate those rules. The only thing is keeping an eye on folks and making sure they're following the rules visually and making sure to listen. There's a real art to listening on the steel target range to see if someone's shooting a .22 on a range that they're not supposed to. That comes with the job. That comes with, time on the job. But for the most part, just learning the rules is the biggest part.
Actually bringing that up, the idea of shooting the .22 on the steel target range. You got to explain that out a little bit of what that happens, what that problem is.
Sure. So .22 LR and other rimfire stuff like it, those small calibers have a tendency to hit the divots created by the larger calibers in some of our steel targets. We have a separate steel target range for .22 LR specifically with metal that's better designed for it. But ricochets happening at certain angles are always a huge concern for steel targets. So we design those ranges at specific angles to make sure that those kinds of interactions are minimized. But .22 LR it's that weird spot. It'll hit the divots created by the larger calibers at bad angles and cause a higher frequency of those ricochets.
I noticed that was a big push when he was going through the safety rules about making sure you don't shoot this type of gun over at this spot. And we've got a special spot for you over here.
Right, exactly that.
I'm sure that, we don't need that coming back on us.
No one does want that.
I would prefer that we stay away from that. So now, you married into this.
Yes.
Would that be a correct statement there? It's a pretty good job to marry
Nepotism
into.
is awesome.
Oh, I'm all for it.
Can't suggest it enough. Marry up.
Yeah, gosh, if you definitely had a bar and grill, you'd be set.
Oh, yeah.
That's all you're missing. You got the gun range, you got the cattle ranch. But it's a lot of work out there.
Yeah, it is.
You guys got a lot.
I'm not doing it, but someone is, and they look tired.
Yeah, well, you were busy when I was there. You were doing something.
I got a reputation, all right.
Yeah, well,
I gotta make it look like I'm in charge.
That might have been what the guy at the counter said, something about that. But it looks like it's got to be enjoyable to be out there and doing this.
Absolutely.
And watching this.
Absolutely. I wish I could explain it to you because it hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows. It's hard work, and financials aren't always there to give us raises when we need it. Right. But there's something that just makes you stay.
Yeah.
And one thing that I probably should have covered when I was talking about how Five Dogs got started is it was very much people who wanted Five Dogs to succeed, helping David get this range to where it is, because there's no way he could have done it by himself. Self-made man, just putting in the work to get it done all on his own. It was very much Bakersfield, California, and Kern County in general wanting this thing to be And you call it a God thing if you want, and I do, and I will.
Oh, absolutely.
It came to be.
Well, I think it really would show the families, your family's commitment to the Second Amendment, to that aspect of it, and really making sure folks can get out there and be comfortable shooting.
Yeah.
That's something that when I looked at it from the outside looking in, there's just the family aspect, and then the tradition of getting into following the Second Amendment, making sure folks are comfortable. I think that's very impressive. When you have somebody new come out there, because I know it's intimidating for a lot of folks to think, I've never been to a gun range. I don't know, what would I do when I get out there? What would be your recommendations for folks they'd like to come out and see it, who may not have even fired their guns yet?
Right.
How do you lead them through that a little bit?
Well, my first suggestion would be get some training, get some information from someone who does know, because that takes every barrier of entry away. It's all knowledge at the end of the day. It's all just you don't know, and so you're scared. So getting that information from someone and getting just simple explanations of, hey, there's something exploding in my hand, and that's scary. Why do I keep missing? Well, it's because your body's afraid of what's going on in your hands. Just fight against that. Those little things, the trainers here at Five Dogs are super helpful for that.
You have your website.
Yes.
What's your website?
5dogsrange.com with a number 5.
Number 5, yes. And in that, can somebody go in there and find instructors on your website?
Yeah, we have, from the main navigation on the services page, you can get a drop down to find our trainers and clubs, but there's also a button on the front page that just says find a trainer. Click on that, you'll find a list of all the trainers we have, and they're separated by which ones can do CCWs in Kern County and which ones are regular trainers who operate here all the time.
And are there any other big events coming up out there in the near future?
Yes.
What events would you like to highlight a little bit?
Well, we have the API coming up, the American Petroleum Institute. That one's always one of our biggest shoots of the year. We have so many. I want to check our calendar right now. You caught me off guard, but
Okay.
Now's the sporting clay season. And if you come out pretty much any Saturday in the next couple of months, we're going to have something going on the sporting clay trail.
Okay. That's what I noticed on your website. Seemed like there's a lot going on.
The weather just starting to get good. That's all that matters. For an outdoor range, it's really all that matters.
Yeah, I noticed I walked out this morning and it was, I don't know, probably 65 degrees, and it felt that little cool in the air. I was like, okay,
right.
Now's a good time.
If only we were open today.
Yeah, exactly. I was telling my son, I was in Eureka 2 days ago and it was 57 degrees up there in the middle of the day. I'm like, wow, look forward to these days. And come home, it was 105. But, that's
right.
It's not the best time to go shooting, I would imagine. But you do have covered areas.
Yes. We have shade out there on most of our ranges. We actually just got them replaced, so that's really nice. That's nice not to have that hanging over our head.
Yeah. Well, eventually put solar, make them all solar.
Right.
Isn't that what everybody does now? We talked a little bit about your staff, but there are probably a lot of government regulations.
Tons.
Yeah. And they all make it easier to do business, don't they?
Of course. Absolutely. The only one, if you really challenge me to say something positive about anyone, it's something that Dustin said on the last interview, is that the gross entry fee that you have to do to get any ammo in California, that shifted everyone to having to come to gun stores to pick up the ammo.
Okay.
That helped retail, I guess, but that's not ideal. That's not what we want.
No.
They're trying to actually increase that $1 day fee, or the $1 DOJ fee to $5, by the way.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Anything to make it a little bit harder.
Anything. That makes it a whole lot harder. I don't know if you know this, but like a lot of our sales are like single box items. So like a 22 LR box, we charge $5 for that. $1 on top sucks.
Yeah.
But someone's not going to cough at that. But pump it up to $5, all of a sudden you're talking about $10 for one box of 22 LR. Those sales are just going to disappear.
And that's on top of the cost of the box.
Right.
And that's just a fee from the government.
It's fee from the government. And what's stupid about that is a lot of people don't understand exactly what their paperwork is. So sometimes we have to try a couple times in a row. And normally we just eat those costs. Like, it's $1. It's not a big deal. Want to make them happy, want to make the sale. Some people we have to try 3 different times. Well, that's $15.
Oh, wow.
That's $15 if you do all those tries. We get charged whether someone's approved or not.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's
You're
a plan
right.
there. There might be a plan there.
What do you think their plan is, Chuck?
Let's make it a little hard, right? It goes right along with that extra 11% sales tax they tacked on top of it.
Yeah.
So And when I look at it, like you said, it's mom and dad and kids who are growing these things.
And those are the ones that are primarily affected by this. If you read all the documentation they did, because this $5 increase isn't like an up for a vote kind of thing. It's a budgetary thing that bypasses any kind of regulation. So if you read the documentation, they found that there's no real economic impact because if you just buy all your ammo for the year in one purchase, it's only an increase of $4. So
yeah, because
mom and pop and the kids always just buy all their ammo all at once at the beginning of the year, everything they need.
I think that really shows that the people making these laws have no clue.
Out of touch.
I actually did see an article some years ago. There were some fella had got arrested, and they were making a big deal about how he was a gun nut. He was a hoarder. He had a stockpile of ammunition.
Yeah, me too.
He had 200 rounds of 9mm in his safe, and he had a stockpile. And that would just show they really have no clue. No clue. I think you could go shoot 200 rounds pretty easily.
In a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And still feel like, man, I don't have that down.
Oh, all day long.
Yeah.
Oh, we went out. I think we went through. We were only there for 45 minutes and maybe an hour with Naomi, and I think we went through 100 rounds pretty easily. And she was talking to us a lot while we were doing it, so I know that we could have shot a lot more. And I would have been fine with that too. But how do we get those people to understand? I don't think they want to.
Right.
Is what it really comes down to.
I mean, there's definitely at the top end of it, yes, there's behind closed doors, I don't know what people are saying, but there seems to be some design at least. When I first came here from Tacoma, Washington, where I'm originally from, those kind of questions didn't come up because, I didn't have a gun and I didn't really care.
Right.
But now that I'm in it, now that I'm in a state that seems so adamant about restricting individual gun rights, there are steps, it seems like increments towards active restriction. It seems a little bit mask off to me about common sense gun laws that don't make sense when you think about them.
Yeah, that's it brings up an extra question for me though. In a way, you said you came from Tacoma. You weren't around guns necessarily.
No.
When you come down and all of a sudden now you're introduced to this world, however that happens. But was that intimidating for you at first? To not be around guns, now you're obviously going to be around guns.
Absolutely.
What were your thoughts going into that?
Thoughtless. I don't know. I met a girl with pretty eyes.
That changes everything, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. It tends to make us all better. But I mean, I've been married to my wife for 34, so she definitely has made me better. But so obviously she was raised around firearms and being on a cattle ranch, so she almost introduced you to it, really.
Pretty much. She's a way better shot than I am.
They tend to be, which is a good thing to remember.
Right. I haven't gotten her flowers in a while.
You might want to get on the ball. Take a little Dwarfs candy home today.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
But when you walked out there, what was the first gun you shot?
First gun that I shot was a little .22 Savage.
Okay.
Little bolt action gun.
Which is a great starter gun. I think that works out pretty well.
Yeah, and I was in my 20s.
Right, and you're a big guy. When you look at that.
What are you trying to say, Chuck?
You're a tall guy.
Oh, okay.
Tall
yeah.
guy.
All right. I'll take that.
No. Trust me. I got the big side. And I'm not tall. So you started with that and then kind of how you progressed up, because that's something where people would get a little uncomfortable. And that's where we want to make it as comfortable for folks to get on practice. So what was your progression up to where, I don't know, do you do competition shooting now at all, or?
Not really. No. I mostly shoot to just make sure I can still pull the trigger. Yeah. Keep it dialed in. And if I ever have to use my CCW, then I'll be prepared to do it. Not that I want to, heaven forbid. I really hope that every dollar I've ever spent on my CCW has been a complete waste of time and money. But,
And that's the general consensus on most anybody I know that owns or carries has a CCW, is they never want to use it.
Bunch of gun nuts.
Oh, yeah. Bunch of gun nuts. That one's so frustrating, because those are not the people that are out committing the crimes. Donnie Youngblood was on here last week, and he was very clear about that. He said, we have over 15,000 CCWs issued in Kern County, and those are not the guys committing crimes.
Right.
Right. And if you do something stupid, he'll take it away.
Right.
Yeah. He talked about a friend of his that he had to take it away, and he was a donor. He donated to his election. And he's like, that doesn't matter. Take it away. don't do stupid stuff. So I think we all kind of know
Right.
we got to be responsible because that's
got to be a hard conversation.
you know, it was for him. It seemed like it was not at all. The fella called him up, asked him, he goes, "What can I do?" He goes, "You can drop your license in the mail to me right now." He's like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "I'm dead serious." You know, he thought you could just mail it in because you're not going to have it for at least a year. After talking with him, I could see it. It was just matter of fact.
Right on.
You know, we would think it's a hard conversation, but I guess with him, it was like, no, don't do stupid shit.
Well, maybe maybe it gets easier. I've kicked a couple people off the range.
Have you?
A few of my friends.
But I bet it makes them better the next time they come out.
Oh yeah.
You know,
One of them.
well, not everybody can learn.
Right.
But I always say you learn more by making a mistake and screwing up than you do by doing it right all the time. So fine, they screwed up, you straighten them out, and hopefully they come back better.
Right.
You know, that's the government regulations have not made it any easier, but we know that's going to be part of it. That doesn't matter what industry you're in, really. You know, we see that in our everyday lives. So when you're out there and you're watching these folks, what are some common mistakes that you are seeing?
For the most part, during line breaks, people going back to the tables, even though we told them not to, grabbing stuff off of there. That one's relatively minor because they're usually not touching guns, but it's hard to tell from the box. But that's the primary thing that people are doing. I can't stress enough that most of the time when people screw up, it's not dangerous. It's they just forgot. And I tell them, they go, "Oh, my bad." It's honestly the biggest issues we have out there on the range, and the most dangerous people are, surprisingly enough, people who have been shooting for long time. You know, I've been shooting for 30, 20, years. I was in the Army. They know what they're doing.
Right.
And they'll let you know that. So these minor infractions that have a purpose, they have a reason, such as don't walk with a loaded firearm on the range and keep your finger off the trigger and those kind of things. Well, I got to stress, first of all, that no one has ever shot somebody else on Five Dogs range. They've accidentally discharged, into their leg or shot their finger off or something like that.
Oh, no.
And that is always the result of one of our rules being broken. I don't want to, mention any specific names or anything like that, but one nice old man was walking with his revolver. He was walking downrange with a loaded firearm, and then he tripped and instinctively, grabbed his gun as tight as he could because he was on his way down. So he pulled the trigger right into his thigh, and then we had to patch that up and send him home. And after we explained it to him, he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I did do that." Well, but when you're explaining it to him over the mic and saying, "Hey, please don't walk with a loaded firearm," you get a wave.
I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing. Complacency.
Complacency is the enemy.
Yeah. I listen to Mike Rowe a lot. I travel for work, and I
Love
listen to
Dirty
Mike.
Jobs.
Oh, yes.
I love Dirty Jobs
Well,
so
his
much.
podcast is great. But his big thing on Dirty Jobs is safety third instead of safety first. And I always thought that was kind of interesting. But he brought up a great point when he was really explaining it, was that when you put safety first, that's when he started getting more and more injuries on his show because everybody got complacent. It was somebody else's job. We all know what we're doing.
Right.
And they really started backing that off and went to safety third because now you're still responsible for your own self and you're really paying attention. It was interesting that he would explain it a heck of a lot better than I ever would, but it was a very good lesson. Yeah, safety's got to be front of mind, but first of all, it's got to be personal responsibility.
Right.
And I think it's definitely something we try and talk about on here a lot is personal responsibility. If you're going to own a firearm and you're going to have a CCW, it's not just the right to carry a gun. It's the right to be responsible and be smart about it.
Amen.
That's, we see it. I mean, I carry, we all carry, but you don't carry where you're not supposed to carry. You don't carry when you're drinking. You don't carry when you're doing things. Be smart.
I did sign a paper saying I wouldn't.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anybody ever realizes that we have to sign those things. But that falls right back into we're not the ones committing the crimes. We're paying attention to the rules. So what type of things would you like to highlight about Five Dogs? We all know it's great. But what type of things would you like to highlight about them?
We're here. Every now and again, I swear at least once a week, we'll get someone who had no idea about us. They never heard of us. They come out, they have a great time, and they're just super happy and surprised that we exist and that we're so cheap. We're cheap.
Yeah. Reasonably priced.
Reasonably priced, affordable. Ooh.
Very affordable.
Man, you have some big words.
And how far out of town are you?
We're about 20 minutes from the north side of Bakersfield. So I drive from Oildale every day, so 20 minutes from there. But you take the Famoso. If you get onto 65, turn on the Famoso, about 25 minutes from there. But that's from the north. So if you're driving all the way from Taft Highway, I really appreciate you, first of all.
Yes.
But it's quite a drive, and I really, that's our biggest barrier is the gas to take to get out there. And I think people will be pleasantly surprised. We have everything. We have a range for whatever you need.
You got drinks out there, so if it's hot, you can come and grab a drink. You're going to make people comfortable.
Absolutely. We do our best. That's kind of, other than the mom and pop and the kids, our primary goal is to be better than free. Because at the end of the day, people could go out to BLM land and shoot out there.
Right.
Not that I want to advertise for it, but it's a possibility. We are better than free. I want you to give us a chance, please. We rely on you. We rely on every person in Kern County. They pay the bills at the end of the day.
Well, and that was the biggest thing. I think a lot of folks don't realize you're out there.
Right.
I know when you're driving up on Granite Woody Road, I guess it is there at the Y, you got a sign that says shooting range.
Yeah.
Turn left.
And those signs are great. Yeah, we will get paid. I saw your sign. I just turned right in. I got the rest of the day off. Let's do it. Great.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend more folks go out there and really get comfortable. Spend some time doing some shooting on that. What type of events are you doing, or what kind of outreach are you doing to let more people know you are there? You have social media?
Yeah, we got social media. We have our guy Joey on that. He for the most parts, he runs the fun post. I just write up like informational, this and that on this day, come on out. But Joey has fun with it. Joey Boone, he's a great addition to the range, one of our guys who's working out there.
Okay.
So it's mostly social media and on the internet. I'd like to get some local radio time or TV time, but it's not in the budget just yet. So
radio time just costs so dang much.
Yeah, it does.
So does TV, but they're all just, when you're trying to be the most reasonably priced and affordable place, it's hard to justify that.
Yeah, but social marketing is free.
Yeah,
it's what's available and people are looking at it. So it's our greatest tool so far. Email marketing, and that's pretty much it. Marketing hasn't always been our experience. It's not a part of our expertise. So, we're learning every day. It's just one more thing onto the pile. Like I said, I'm from Tacoma. I don't know anything about guns when I first started out here, but I knew about search engine optimization, so that's what I got started on.
Oh,
I got our website going. People started noticing online, started calling us, like, I saw your website, and so that's great. It's one step at a time, and it's always a learning process.
Yeah, well, hopefully doing something like this will help with that, too. And we want to definitely get the word out there about you guys.
Yeah, this is fun.
Thanks
for having me on.
I have a great time out there when I'm shooting, and I've been out there a few times with different people, and whether we're shooting the rifles or shooting the handguns, and I know I've got to get out there more often. We talk about that quite a bit. If I'm going to carry CCW, I need to be shooting a couple times a month. I think there's a responsibility that goes along with that. One of the things that we have noticed out there, you do have a long list of instructors you're working with and different types of shooting going on. When you look at that and, the Powers go out there.
Yeah, Powers Firearms Training.
Yeah, and they've been around a long time.
Oh, yeah. Another generational business out there.
That's what it seems like. I talked to Craig the other day, and great to talk with him. What type of training are you seeing your instructors run out there?
For the most part, it's CCWs, and people want more information on CCWs. That's the big bulk of the training that's going on out there. But like I mentioned earlier, we have hunter safety, we have, basic handgun, rifle, shotgun classes. Haley Strategic every now and again they come out. They do like low light training. That's the advanced stuff. They do low light training. They have special words for it that are outside my wheelhouse, but they shoot into cars. It sounds kind of silly, but they break down exactly what's happening to your bullet every time it hits a different material in there. If you're shooting into glass, what's happening to your bullet? If you're shooting into an engine block, if you're shooting through a door, what are the obstacles there? Situational awareness, medical stuff. So yeah, Haley Strategic, every now and again, they'll come out. Sheepdog Response as well. Sheepdog Response, their class is fun. They do BJJ in town, then it gets you all tired out. And
Really?
Yeah, they come out and do shooting on the range. And
who leads that?
that one is,
And BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
We always have a lot of acronyms. I figured, I was on the school board for a long time.
Yeah.
In schools, they love to have acronyms. And I'd always, hey, hang on, for this non-school guy, help me out with that acronym. What does that mean?
Right.
So the same thing here. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Tim Kennedy, yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and Tim, not him himself, but he sent out a team. Yeah, his trainers come out.
No, that's great.
They're fun.
Well, we're going to have Dan Camarillo on here in the next
right
week
on.
or so. And one of the things we're going to talk about is, we all carry a firearm. We all have our CCW, but you don't want to use it. So let's have another option. And that was one of the things. And I personally feel that all law enforcement officers, for their own good, should go through some type of jiu-jitsu training because they're going to put hands on people.
Right.
They're going to have to. And if that gives you another tool in your toolbox, then why not?
Right. Every engagement has its own level of engagement.
Yeah.
It's a real escalation that, using your firearm is about as high as it gets. So.
Yeah, there's nothing after that, pretty much. That's but interesting. You say they go and do jiu-jitsu first, and then they go out and shoot after the fact.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a great way to do it because I noticed it myself a while back when I was out shooting, and I'd been busy all day, and I'd bike riding, I did this, I did that, and I was doing something. Oh, I know we were moving 2,000 pounds of sand or something like that.
Right.
So my arms were tired, but then we went out and shooting, and I know I did not shoot as well because my arms were tired.
Correct. And you won't always, the situation is not going to be perfect if you ever have to use your firearm. Your heart rate's going to be elevated.
Yeah.
You're going to go through a whole lot of biological responses, fight or flight, that have to do with that entire interaction. And I don't want to get into the science of that because I'm not a scientist, but Tim Kennedy and Sheepdog Response are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they go through that, and that's, getting into biomechanics and, what your body's doing. It's all magic, and I couldn't describe it to you, but they can. So,
Well, no,
so that's just an example of something they do. That's just part of the training.
That's actually really impressive. I like the fact what happens to that bullet when it hits whatever you're shooting it at.
Right, it's just something you don't think about, but it's so important to what you're doing. If you are going to be shooting at someone who's potentially shooting back, you definitely want to know whether or not your bullets are if they're hitting home.
Yeah, it's not like the movies. It's
not?
Yeah, isn't that shocking? Yeah, you shoot through that windshield, and it's probably going to have a little deflection to it.
A little bit.
And it will shoot through the doors, unlike the movies. Don't hide behind the door. It's going to go right through. Granted, there are certain rounds it won't, but...
Concealment and cover are two different things. Another thing that'll plug in, another thing that'll be covered in that class.
Yeah, I see that all the time, and I look at that and go, wow, he's shooting that AR-15 into the door and they're hiding behind the door, and it's not going through. Oh, special movie rounds.
Right.
I guess.
That depends what they're shooting.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's fun. One of the things that I hear often is, and I actually had this discussion with one of my coworkers the other day, and he's like, I just don't understand why anybody needs an AR-15. Nobody needs an automatic weapon. I said, well, you're right. We don't have automatic weapons. I said, they're semi-automatic. I mean, do you get that sometimes you have to explain to people? When people come out there, I want to shoot an automatic weapon, and they don't understand.
Not really. They don't really say that. They just...
No, okay. I see these people a lot of times. They don't understand the difference
between semi-automatic and fully semi-automatic.
Fully semi-automatic. That's a great statement. Yeah, and this guy he shot guns, and I told him, stop saying automatic weapons. Right. It hurts the cause, in my thought, because it's confusing the issue.
It's not where the discussion should be.
No.
Yeah.
No,
I get that.
The responsible gun ownership. That's where.
Well, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, people just don't know what the gun laws are.
No.
And, I have to look them up every couple of weeks because they change. They change like that.
Yeah. They changed again the other day, like we were talking beforehand about how you could buy more guns now than you have in the past, but you still have to have the waiting period.
Right.
Which to me is kind of I'm all for the first waiting period, but if I have a CCW, let's get real. I already have some guns.
Right.
I shouldn't have to wait. If I want to buy another gun, I shouldn't have to wait another 10 days.
And our best ally in that fight is probably CRPA right now. They're probably doing the most work in California. CRPA, California Rifle and Pistol Association. Okay. They're the guys, the Michelin Associates. They're the people doing all the legwork for the legal battles that we're doing, our NRA West, basically,
Right.
They've been doing the footwork. They've been really putting in the work to help us out. So they're the ones that we get our information from about the latest gun laws and updates and stuff like that. So they're huge advocates for 2A, huge advocates for gun ranges here in California. I can't suggest them enough.
And I would bet they probably...
And NRA has fallen short a couple of times over the years, where the CRPA, they're here in California. That's their focus, and they've been really putting in the work.
And I would imagine they need help occasionally.
Absolutely.
So
financial and otherwise.
Yeah. Do they do fundraisers where people can step in and help out? Have you ever seen them?
They're always raising funds for one thing.
Right.
But I think we had a fundraiser planned this year, but I don't know. No. They do fundraisers.
Yeah. Well, I see like the Deer Association does dinners and things like that. I wasn't sure if they do something where folks could actually go help support that way.
Yeah, if you go on their website, crpa.org, they probably have a calendar of events.
That's perfect. I would highly recommend folks do that. Get
Yeah.
on that website.
They're our biggest ally right now.
Are they?
Yeah.
And where are they based out of? Do you know?
I don't know, some lawyer place, Sacramento or something.
Well, that'd be an interesting one to get on here sometime to actually talk with them about how people can help support them.
Absolutely, yeah. Can't suggest them enough.
No, I will be reaching out then. Well, that's pretty good. What other things would you like to highlight? I mean, we want to grow your business out there. We want to really get that going. What ways can the community, I mean, obviously come out, you have some memberships, but you have a couple different levels of membership, right?
Right, yeah. So we have two different memberships. We have the basic one, the conditional membership, $25 gets you the membership for the whole year. The condition is that you pay $15 per visit. You can bring out any number of guests of any age. Each guest that's shooting pays $15. You can also just bring guests who are hanging out. We don't charge them. We just need them to come up, sign in, liability stuff, paperwork and all that. We also have the $225 general membership. That one's kind of like a family plan. That $225 pays for the whole year. Don't have to pay that $15 day fee. It covers the member, their spouse, kids and grandkids under 18, and out-of-town guests.
Okay.
And we consider out-of-town 100 miles from 5 Dogs Range.
I
So
think that's reasonable.
if you bring in your guests from LA, bring one out. They're covered. So
That's definitely out of town from here.
Yeah.
I don't care how close it might be. That's a whole nother world once you cross that grapevine.
yeah, it's crazy.
That is. But so that 225, that's going to cover them, all of them. They come
Yeah.
out, shoot as many times as they want, except for the 2 days a year that you're closed.
Yes, that's right. Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, which is really interesting. Can't think of another business that's only closed 2 days a year. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, you're closed on, 'cause you're
Tuesdays,
open,
Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
Tuesday,
yeah.
Wednesdays.
So yeah, we're open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Got some
Yeah.
people come out.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got to work sometime.
Right.
So-
Not me.
Not you?
No.
No, you guys might have said
Work is a strong word for what I do out there.
like I said, I enjoy it every time I go out there, and I'm sure more and more people will. I would definitely want to get the word out there, get people to really get out there and do some shooting. And that way you could be responsible gun owners and not be afraid of the firearm. Just the other day I was talking to somebody, and he was he's really thinking about buying a firearm, buying a handgun. He's like, but it just scares me. No, it shouldn't scare you. Get comfortable with it, but go through some lessons.
Yeah, the biggest mistake that I've ever see all the time on the range is someone will bring out their wife and they'll get out the biggest .357 revolver with a snub nose, give it to their wife, like, hey, shoot this, it's pink, and couldn't have a more roaring recoil gun. Just give them a 22. Give them something small. Get them used to what's going on with the firearm, then build up from there. Or don't. Or 22 is what you carry, and that's great. Something is better than nothing. Everyone doesn't need a Desert Eagle 50 caliber carrying it with them all the time. I do, but
Yeah, well, sure. Yeah, but
I'm
you're a big
cool.
guy.
Yeah, I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy.
I actually met a guy that had, it wasn't a Desert Eagle. I don't know. It might have been. I'm not sure what it was, but boy, it shot one hell of a round through it. Mm-hmm. And he pulled that thing out and was like, what are you doing? He goes, I don't shoot this thing. It's just for show.
It's fun.
He goes, it's very cool when I'm riding my Harley and I got that thing here. He goes, I'll never shoot this thing like that. But he goes, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
I go, yeah, you shoot that sucker, it's going to, like a buffalo round in that thing. I don't know what it was. But like he was comfortable. He was having fun with it. So
I got to shoot a 45-70 revolver one time.
that's what it was. It was a 45-70.
Yeah, those are stupid. They're shooting a rifle round out of it was a 30-inch barrel basically on that revolver, but
He kept it in a underarm holster.
Wild man.
He would ride in his Harley. He actually has black gold guns and ammo. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, awesome. Love talking with him. And what is it? It's black gold, Thai food steakhouse, bar and grill, and guns and ammo shop.
Cool.
I'm like, I got to meet this guy. And he exceeded my expectations when we met. We're going to get him on here eventually, too, just because, I mean, why not?
Right.
I'm sitting there
Gotta hear
talking
that
to
guy's
him.
story. How did you get to where you were?
It was a great story. He told me a little bit about it, but he was definitely fun to talk to. And we're looking at guns and ammo, and his distillery is literally 10 feet from you.
Right on.
And he's making beer right there. We got to talk about this. So, yeah, but he carried that 45-70 or whatever it is. I'm like, what in the world are you doing? He said, it's cool.
Yeah.
That's it. That's good enough for me.
I don't know if that's on the approved list of calibers.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that out loud. Well, he has his FFL and stuff, so he could do all
Oh,
that.
yeah, dope.
Yeah, exactly. When I went over and I met with Wesley Morris out there in Taft, and he was showing me all the stuff that he has and the fun stuff, and very cool. Makes me want to get an FFL just so I can get some of the cool stuff. But no, that's okay. Well, very good. I think we've covered most everything on there. Give us the highlights on your website and phone numbers. What are the best way to reach you guys out there?
Great. Yeah, probably the best way to reach us is just come on out. There's nothing, just coming out. We can give you all the information when you get here, get you started. You can definitely call us, 661-399-7296. We don't answer on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursdays. We're not there. But that or our email, 5dogsrange@gotsky.com, or just click the contact page on our website as well.
You have some social media.
Yeah,
also.
yeah. We have social media, Facebook, Instagram,
All that stuff.
all that stuff.
There you go. I
We're
think
out
it's a great opportunity for more folks to get out there, get comfortable with firearms, get comfortable shooting,
Right.
and meet your crew. Like I said, I was impressed with them. You have good folks out there.
No, we do. I'm really proud of our boys there.
And one of the things to talk about, and we didn't cover it enough, I think, with David, he started this. He's a patriarch in a way out there. I mean, that's... And
Benevolent dictator, as he likes to say.
in a nice way.
Yeah, right.
In a nice way. So,
He only shouts at us every now and again.
only when needed, I would imagine.
Right.
Only when needed. I think
The bruises don't show.
My son can attest to some of that from growing up, I'm sure. I only yelled when needed to be. So. but, I think having him, we wanted to have him on. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it this time. We'll get him another time. But, I mean, certain things come. I know there's probably things he wanted you to cover today. Did we miss anything that he wanted you to cover?
Let's see. I wrote it all down. Yeah,
You wrote it all down?
List, but
So tell me where the Five Dogs name came from, because we covered that a little bit earlier, and then we kind of bypassed it. So I think it'd be great.
Right on. So the name Five Dogs comes from Five Dogs Creek, the creek that used to run through where Five Dogs sits right now.
Okay.
The name Five Dogs Creek came from, at one point, this was before David, so this is the story that David was told. Way back when, before the whole area became civilized, the natives of the area, nomads, would bring their sheep herds from Fresno all the way down through the area, feeding off the feed meadows, coming all the way down south to McFarland and turn on to up the Owen River Valley, make that loop back to Fresno. They'd make that rounds every year. In spring, they'd come by, the area that Five Dogs is to get their sheep shorn at Granite Station, which is still a historical landmark. If you're coming from the north of Bakersfield and you see that turn one goes Woody to the left, that one takes you to Five Dogs. You take that right, you'll go by Granite Station.
Yep.
They don't share your sheep anymore. I tried.
Did you?
No. But that's the way they went. There's a spring right where the family currently gets its water, pump it out of the ground now.
Sure.
And that spot was one of the stops where they watered their sheep. The Indians there had a problem in the area with coyotes, which they called wild dogs. So one of the solutions they brought was to put some snares up in some trees to catch those coyotes from doing what they were doing. Butterfield stage line came through that creek, and five trees along the way still had coyotes in the snares several years in a row.
Oh, okay.
And so as you travel along, you just see those dogs hanging from the trees. And there were 5 of them, 5 Dogs Creek.
That just works.
It just works.
It just works.
It sticks.
And now you guys are Five Dogs Gun Range. I think
You won't find that in the history books, but
a lot of the best stories aren't in the history books. They're coming from the families that have been there for generations.
that's pretty much it.
You guys are at least 3 generations, 4 generations out there.
Right.
Maybe 5 now, probably.
No, I think we go a little bit further than that.
Oh, is
but I
that
don't-
right?
Well, at least the Angles do.
Yeah.
I married into it. I don't know.
Hey, it's like you said, marry up.
Marry up.
Marry up. Nothing wrong with that. I think all 3 of us in here have tried to do that. So it's worked out pretty well, buddy.
What's up?
So my son even couldn't step out enough. He had to marry somebody with the same name as my wife.
Oh, there you go.
It's he married a Tiffany also. So
Right
he
on.
was so impressed. He's like, I'll just go that route. It worked. It worked. So, well, very good. Well, you tell David we look forward to talking to him in the future.
I will.
Love to get him in here. He's got to have just some amazing stories, which, anybody in their 80s is going to have the best stories.
Absolutely.
It's just such seeing the change over the past, 80 years has been amazing. 'Cause I think he was a North High graduate, so he was in Oildale. That's where we're all from. So we're looking forward to getting him on here one day. And then I'll be out there to shoot the new gun here in the next couple weeks.
Great. I'll hold you to that.
Oh, no, absolutely. I'll be out there. I want to get one of those back areas over there so nobody sees me shooting
there you go.
first because, I'm sure that it's not going to be perfect.
Your secret's safe with me, man.
It wasn't pretty the first couple rounds. I put down range. Naomi made some adjustments for me.
She'll get you dialed in.
She's pretty awesome. She really helped me a lot. And like I said, the Powers have done. Actually, what other instructors could you think? I mean, there are a few off the top of your head that work out there pretty regular that people can talk with.
Yeah. It's Powers Firearms Training, Greenhorn Outfitter. That's Naomi Moss.
Yeah, yep.
Then we have Tactical 360, Chris Martinez.
Okay.
Those three are our most consistent out there all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
They're all great people, easy to work with. I wouldn't be working with them if they weren't.
No, that's.
I have the right to tell them to get out of here. You're in danger.
I actually like the fact that you've had to kick a couple people off the range, though. It
I
just
know.
shows
It's
you
not
guys are
fun,
paying
but-
attention. It's not going to be fun, but you're holding to your values and holding your responsibilities, and I think that's awesome. More and more people need to do that. So, well, very good. Any last thoughts?
Let's see. There's things to do in Bakersfield. That's it. I have so many conversations with people from out of town who just complain that we're a flyover. I mean, there's
so much.
things. There's so much. I mean, first of all, there's karaoke. All right, I can't suggest that enough. We have
Wait.
we have
We're going to go back to that.
right on
You karaoke?
a little bit.
Where at?
Anywhere that they're doing karaoke. I don't have a regular spot, but I go around.
Well, you said you were in Oildale. Highland.
Yes.
Highland Bar, Wednesday night.
I haven't tried that place yet.
They just started doing it. Randall Brock and his wife Nancy own that place now.
That's going to be a stop.
And he was just telling me that it is getting big there. I had no clue. Randall's a good buddy of mine. So we were having dinner there the other night and a couple drinks. And he was telling me that they started doing karaoke on Wednesday night. So now we're going to have to come watch you do karaoke.
I won't need a mic.
No?
I shout.
One of my best memories when my son was young, he did karaoke. And he probably hates that we talk about this. But
That's okay. We can turn this camera.
Exactly. And I think he was 11, and we lived down in Rancho Cucamonga, and we went to some pizza place for his birthday, and he wanted to sing, I think it was Cotton Eye Joe.
That's a great karaoke song.
And to see this 11-year-old get up there, and he nailed it. He did great. It was awesome. We've enjoyed it. I mean, it's a great story. We tell it to this point. It's been fun. We'll have to come over and watch it at the Highland because I don't live too far from there.
Fair enough.
It'd be a good one. But yeah, there's a lot to do.
Yeah, and there's stand-up comedy.
Yes.
Big scene for that. My buddy Daniel Betts, he runs the Whale Comedy Club on White Lane. That's been our spot for several years. Open mics back in the day. So
Did you really?
yeah, that's super fun. I love doing that. We have actors in town. We have
Well, Crystal Palace,
they
have a great
live music.
Daryl Worley is there.
Really?
Yeah, we're actually going to that concert.
There's just so much stuff going on, man.
They have a concert tonight, and then they have another concert tomorrow night. I wish I could remember who's going to be there tomorrow night. Probably sold out, but it's
Always is.
Always.
Whenever I check.
Yes. Well, I caught on to this Daryl because he's such a patriot. That's his big thing with his country music. And when that popped up, like September 12th, yeah, we got to go to that.
Yeah.
We're definitely going. It's tonight at 7:30 at the Crystal Palace. I don't know if they're sold out or not, but pretty sure. So there's a lot to do here in town.
Tons. I could go on and on.
Oh, yeah. You go out to the Melodrama out there on Allen. We've always had a good time with that. And they poke fun at all of us, which is great. When they did the Housewives of Oildale, that was a blast. We had to go to that one.
Yeah.
There was stuff about Taft. There was stuff about the Southwest. All these different things. So you're right. And then go out to Five Dogs and do some shooting.
Please.
Get comfortable. Go down to Dirty Bird, get your guns, get your ammo. Mm-hmm. Come out here, do some shooting, buy some more ammo from you guys, right?
That's right.
There you go. So that's keep practicing. So, well, very good. I appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
for
much.
having me on, Chuck. It was fun.
All right, we're going to have some fun with it.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Best of all, a 5-star review is much appreciated.